I'm Coach Ron Wolforth, and today we're going to be talking about developing elite level command, and I'm going to offer you a completely new approach to becoming an exceptional precision throwing athlete. We all know how important throwing strikes is. We all know how important having command of your pitches is. Everybody has kind of an idea of how to develop it, but it is so rare that people have great command. So what actually is obvious is we need to take a different look at this and really improve people's ability to throw strikes and have command of all their pitches. So the first thing that it strikes us is that nearly every pitcher who struggles with command at every level, all the way from little league to the major leagues, tends to miss high to their arm side and low to their glove side. So you can see there's some strikes that are thrown intermittently in here, but there's still enough pitches that get away from you high to your arm side, or that you spike and throw low to your glove side. And this is a right-handed example. A left-hand example would be the exact opposite, right? So if we're looking at the strike zone as if a pitcher looking at the catcher. So this would be a left-hand hitter, this would be a right-hand hitter, and this here I am as a right-handed thrower. I'm going to have a tendency to miss high to my arm side and low to my glove side, and that's a classic thing that we see for everybody. And so the degree of which we can minimize this and reduce this is really critical to our ability to ascend in levels. So at the Texas Baseball Ranch, we refer to this diagonal here as the tangent of disconnection. This degree, the amount of throws here and here, indicate just the degree of which someone is disconnected. And here's what I mean. The more throws that you see up in the zone and out of the zone this way, or spiked low and away that way, that kind of tells us where they're disconnected, how extreme that disconnection is. Now, what I see from a lot of people is that they don't miss equally here and here. There's some that do, but generally, if you have what I see from most of our pitchers, they're either mostly here or mostly here when they miss, right? So what actually happens is they'll throw a couple balls up here and then they'll try to make an adjustment and spike one. Or they'll be spiking some down in here and then they'll try to make an adjustment and the ball will get away from them that way. Or they're trying to get a ball in to a right-hand hitter or away to a left-hander and the ball will get away from them. That's what happens. Just that has caused a lot of bench-clearing brawls over the years where a fastball was intended to be thrown in here and the ball got away from him up into here, and of course that hits somebody in the back or the shoulder or the helmet, and then you got a bench-clearing brawl. And it's all the tangent of disconnection is very common amongst, and I'll explain to you why that is the case. So to ascend in levels, to go from being a select player to making your high school team and becoming one of the main guys, being one of the dudes on your high school team, and then getting a college scholarship and going to junior college or Division I or Division II or Division III, and then becoming one of those major guys, and then getting drafted professionally and going from short season A to regular A to double A to triple A all the way to the major leagues. That's what I call ascending in levels. Professional pitchers must be able to master this pitch. So once again, this is a right-handed strike zone. Look in here. They've got to be able to throw the fastball over here. This is where a lot of easy strikes are taken. A lot of hitters take that pitch. Right-handed hitters will take that pitch for a strike. We've got to be able to throw it there, right? If all we do is throw pitches in this area or in this area, we've got some problems. So one of the first things we have to be able to do is master fastball command to this side. Now what happens most of the time is they're trying to throw it here, and we throw a lot of balls down in here, and we get behind hitters trying to throw it there, and we yank it down there, and then we get behind hitters. So when I say master, I mean be able to hit this location 7 out of 10 times with a fastball at game speed. That's what I consider mastery, and that's what keeps a whole bunch of our minor league prospects that come to us and train from ascending into major leagues. And they also need to be able to master fastballs thrown into an opposite side hitter. So once again, this is a right-handed strike zone. I'm a right-handed pitcher looking at the strike zone, and right-handed pitcher. And here's the hitter over here, left-handed. I've got to be able to get a fastball, and the vernacular of that is in his kitchen. I got to get inside, and I'm going to try to jam him. Well, because we all know if you pitched it long enough, you know that left-handers hit this pitch down and in really well. They really seem to just a high percentage of hit this pitch really well. I've got to be able to throw the fastball in here, a good fastball, and jam it. Now left-handers have got to throw a good fastball in on the right-handers. That's a really reason. There are a lot of reasons for this, but if you look at major leagues, another thing that keeps people from ascending in levels is I'm a really good right-handed pitcher. And let's say right-handed hitters against me bat 200, but left-handers hit 380. Well, why is that? Well, one of the reasons is I have a tendency to throw the ball up in here and down in here, because that's where I disconnect. So I can't get the ball over here and I can't get it over here, and so I'm really limited in how to get them out, and that makes it very difficult for me to get opposite side hitters out. So let's say if I have a curveball and a changeup, and my changeup I can only throw out here, and my fastball I can't get in here, and of course he can disregard the curveball because it's breaking in. It really limits my options to get opposite side hitters out. Now, that will definitely preclude me from going up in levels. If I'm a general manager and I'm looking at a young man that is throwing, he's really good. He seems like he's really good. He's ready to move up, and he's 200 against right-handed hitters, but they're 380 against left-hand hitters in Double-A. Well, if left-handed hitters in Double-A are hitting 380 against me, what are major league hitters going to hit against me left-handed? And so all of a sudden now that precludes me from going up, and it always gets down to I don't have good enough command to be able to get opposite side hitters out, and that starts right in here. My ability to throw a good fastball, four-seam fastball, right in on the hands of left-handed hitters. That, if I can do that, that opens up my whole strike zone. If I can't do that, then he can eliminate pitches or eliminate size of the plate, and can start to do that to me. So the tendency for underperforming pitchers for all over is to leave too many fastballs up in the zone and in the inner half on the same side hitter. So that means for right-handed hitters, I have a tendency to leave too many of these, and of course that gets hit. If they're good fastball hitters, that's danger zone, because now that doesn't mean that occasionally I don't want to throw it up there, but if I throw too many too regularly up there and I match up against the wrong guy, that could be a problem. And then on left-handed hitters, I throw too many in here, which is also a bad sign. So this is the sign of disconnection. That's where I got to be very careful of. And that's the reason I have trouble. I give up a lot of home runs to right-handed power guys, and I give up a lot of home runs or extra base hits for power to opposite side hitters. I've got to be able to command the whole zone. So a tendency for underperforming pitchers is becoming too fine with their current skill sets. Now, so here's what happens. I try to avoid the bat, right? So I know that as I go up in hitters, either from the junior varsity in high school, now I become in the varsity. I go from the high school to junior college. I go from junior college to college. I go, let's say, junior college to Division I. I go from low A to double A. I go from double A to the major leagues. As I go up, the hitters, of course, get better. And their power gets better, and they miss less often, and they square up things more often. So a lot of times what happens is I'm afraid of the bat. I'm afraid of the barrel really getting really 100% on-time contact. So what I tend to do is I tend to miss up and in because I'm afraid of the barrel, and I tend to miss here. And what happens, I get too fine with my current skill set, and routinely I get behind or deep in the count, and my pitch count becomes elevated. Happens over and over and over again. It's not stuff that gets them in trouble. They're always behind in counts. And when I consider this anywhere in the gray here, this is what I consider non-competitive pitches, meaning that a hitter just can immediately disregard it. And if a hitter can immediately disregard a percentage of pitches, it's really a wasted pitch unless there is a specific purpose. Let's say I go 0-2 and I try to throw this pitch to kind of change his eye level. Well, that's different. That had a purpose. That had a consequence to it. But if I'm 0-0 and I throw a pitch up there, that's just a ball, and it really hasn't really changed anything for me. It's what I call a non-competitive pitch. And so if you throw too many of those, if you throw a high enough percentage of them, your pitch count definitely becomes elevated, and that's not good, right? So another tendency for underperforming pitchers in the beginning is being limited to their ability to command all four quadrants. So can you throw fastballs here? Do you have mastery of fastball in this quadrant? How about that quadrant? How about that quadrant? How about that quadrant? In all the 20 years that I've been doing this, I have never met one pitcher ever, in all the times I have been dealing with pitchers, that are equally good on fastballs to every quadrant. What they will tell you is, I'm really good here, I'm not so good here. I'm really good here, I'm not so good here. I'm really good here, I'm not so good here. Or I'm pretty good at the bottom of the zone, I'm not good at the top of the zone. I'm not very good at the top of the zone, I'm really good at the bottom of the zone. I'm pretty good on the inner half, I'm not so good on the outer half, or vice versa. Do you not think the hitter, especially at the major league level, do you not think they do advanced scouting and they know what you can and can't do? If I can begin to eliminate pitches, if I can begin to look for a quadrant or look for a speed or a rhythm or a spin, now I have a huge advantage in this. So one of the things, you've got to be able to have fastball command, and that's one of the things a lot of professional prospects do not yet have, and it's one of the things that keeps them from ascending up in levels. So really, we're going to define the issue here. There's words that are thrown around all the time. How is your accuracy? How is your control? How is your command? Okay, so a lot of people think, well, they're all interchangeable. Well, they're all related for sure, and I don't want to get stuck in semantics or caught in semantics, but I think it's important for us to distinguish. At the ranch, we view control as the ability to throw strikes. That means my ability to throw it over the white thing as a strike. Right? Command is something different. It's a higher level. It's a higher standard. Is the ability to hit a specific location 7 out of 10 times. And what I mean by a specific location, let's just say a 6x6 square or a 6-inch circumference. That is what I consider command. Your ability to command an area. Therefore, obviously, this DVD and at the ranch, we're more concerned with command and not just control. And that's the reason that just strike percentage is really not that, I'm not that interested in it, because I could miss my location by 17 inches and still be a strike, and I can miss my location by an inch and be called a ball. And to me, the control really can be skewed. Also, I can swing at a bad pitch, and it could be added to my strike percentage. So I'm really not a big fan of strike percentage in a game, because it's too loose. It's not defined enough. Now, I know for some of us that's the best we got. If we don't have video behind, if we can't chart specifically, if we don't know exactly where they're trying to hit their location beforehand. But I believe that the best thing we could do is really pay attention to command and not just strike percentage. So, like I said, there are two abilities that stop a majority of professional athletes, professional pitchers, from ascending. And it's not velocity. That precludes a lot of people from getting into professional baseball. Okay, I'm going to make that distinction. Somebody that's a high school or college kid, velocity will definitely kind of preclude you from being a professional prospect. That's true. But once you're a professional prospect, or actually now a signed professional, you are pitching for an organization, or you're pitching an independent ball, then all of a sudden velocity, although still is there, it becomes more secondary. It's very important to get there, but once you become a person in the major leagues or in professional baseball, that isn't the number one thing that keeps you from ascending. And it also isn't stuff. Usually by the time that you get to that level, you have sufficient stuff, which means the movement on your fastball, or the sharpness of your breaking ball, or a quality changeup, or ability to throw different pitches for strikes, all that sort of thing. That's what I would consider stuff. And usually you don't get to that level if you don't have that higher caliber of stuff. So what limits them is command, specifically fastball command, but also be command of secondary offerings. The great news about this is if we can really command the fastball as we go, our command of our secondary stuff will also improve along with it. And then the second one is recovery, consistency, ability to bounce back and answer the bell. Those are the two things that overwhelmingly limit or constrain a young man's ascension in professional baseball. So it is also certainly not front page news. So everybody that's, if you handed this to a major league organization right now, they'd probably not even be taking notes. They're like, well, of course, right? This we all know this. We've known this for years. So the question is, if most a higher level of baseball knows this already, why does this phenomenon of subpar command remain so prominent? You would think if they knew it, they would be able to go solve it, right? And that's not the case. It's still as prevalent as today as it was 5 years ago and 10 years ago. It is really an issue. So the answer is, in my opinion, the issue is complex with multiple factors. Some of those factors are seen, some of them are unseen. Some are known, some we may never know. So it is a complex, when you're talking about somebody's ability to command the fastball, that's a very complex thing. It's not nearly as straightforward as a lot of people would like you to believe. Now, I think your approach can be straightforward. I think at the end you're going to see that we have a very simplistic approach. But it's really, I would view it as simplicity on the far side of complexity, not on the near side of complexity. I believe many people look at command too narrowly and address only one or two of the possible contributors, and therefore the results are often underwhelming. So let me give you a classic example. Somebody tries to improve somebody's, let's say they draft a young man that's 95, he has an electric arm, and so overwhelmingly, here's what Major League Baseball and college baseball at the Division I level does. Well, you know what, Johnny? You throw at 95, that's good. We just need you to be able to pitch at 90. You don't have to throw it at 95. Let's get you to throw, let's gear you down and let's slow you down. That way you can throw it at 90 and you can be effective. And the answer for that is they often slow guys down and they don't have any better control because they make this bad assumption. They make the assumption that slow equals control. And that's, of course, not true if you ever pay attention to someone. I ask my minor league clients, is it easier to ride a bike really slow or ride a bike fast? And they think about it for a second and go, well, if I go fast enough down a hill, I can take all my hands off the handlebars and it's easy. But to ride it really slow is difficult, to be able to control center of gravity. And I would say that is the same for throwing. Also, is it easier to ski fast or ski slow? Snow ski. Well, it's obviously much more difficult to ski slow. So it's about how to control center of gravity, how to control mass, and if you do so really slowly, move really slowly, it's not going to be helpful, and therefore their results are awful underwhelming. We're going to attempt to see the issue as holistically as possible, and we're going to show you how to use massive simultaneous action in developing our athletes. It's not just one thing. You try to address it from a very holistic, integrated approach, because you really don't know there's a lot of variables in this, and you don't know which one is most prevalent or most significant limitation. So the best thing you can do is to address all of them simultaneously, and therefore you have your best chance at affecting the one that has the greatest impact on command.